remember registration numbers.
FNX11OK. I remember the
But
numbers.
I haven't gone out and bought a Range Rover. I remember the first Range Rover I saw. I can remember the registration number. It's a J-Reg one, lovely mustard-coloured one. Belonged to Adrian Southcote from the Isle of Wight Cleaning Company. I think it was SDL 416J. I haven't gone out and bought a Range Rover, painted it mustard and put the number plate on it. It's just a little memory.
Some people have a lot more on than others. How did you feel about the colour change at Hounslow when they went lime green?
Didn't really affect me.
Why would it?
At the time,
Why?
But I can imagine when you're that much of an enthusiast, the colour change
I
would
was
have been
always
quite
getting them muddled up with Greenham sand and ballast lorries because they were at the same colour at the time. So
what? Who?
Greenham's lorries were the same.
They was always looking the same.
What about the wheels? Did they stay black or were they silver at that time?
No, they done them very dark green, a bluey, dark jadey colour. All the chassis were a dark green.
You would like a guy called Andrew Voiceover who used to phone the show a lot, and he collects post office bikes.
Oh,
But he's a walking, probably the world expert on outside broadcast units, which of course Dennis and Shelvoke and ERF used to build a lot of this specialist equipment.
And we've had Arthur there who collects the post boxes, so you're not on your own, Steve. I'm just a little uncomfortable with maybe coming round your house and, you know, just glancing at what I think's going to be a picture of Auntie Beryl as I go round the corner in the hall, and there's this Dennis dustcart.
That's your photograph of them being manufactured in the factory at Warwick on the wall. So.
Steve, why do you think you went for Shelvokes rather than Dennis? Because I've always been a big Dennis fan myself.
Well, it was always the two companies, Shelvokes or Dennis.
Big riders.
Hang on, we've got to take a break. You're doing my head in. 01983 822 002 if you wanted to speak to Steve the Binman. I'm sorry, but I think this is a little bit weird. 01983 822 002. Right, let's go to John in Whiteley Bank. Hello, John. You're through to the dock, and Steve Jones, the bin man.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I often reminisce and often have the odd conversations because with the refuse collection today, that has altered dramatically, and I've actually seen that over the course of over 60 years. But I'd like to take you back to the 1940s. When the bin men used to come round, I don't know what type they were, but the side used to open and everybody's bin in those days used to be full of ash from the coal fires which all families used to burn.
Where was this, John? What part of the country?
That's in Middlesbrough.
Right.
And where I was born. And we used to ride on the back of the bin lorry. That was our treat as children during the war. You used to get ride because a great platform on the back where the men used to ride on there from place to place. And of course, as kids, you could always have a ride, but the amount of filth that there used to be was absolutely awful with the ash and waste food used to get tipped into this bin, and the bin man used to have about half an inch coating of ash all over him. His hair, his eyes.
Really?
Yes. Oh, yes. I mean, there were dreadful days as far as the bin man is concerned. And I've actually grown up thinking the most important people in society today are refuse collectors. Because I've seen the days going back to the 1940s that if materials weren't gathered, the amount of vermin that used to occur, and I've always sort of treated them as exceptionally important people.
They are, John. Remember, it was the bin man who really brought down the James Callaghan government. Do you remember
That's
that?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. See, I've always admired them, and I should imagine Steve is the man who had a vehicle built by Salvage Squad.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah. I watched that with great interest. Now, the old bins which I'm on, the old bin vehicles which I'm talking about, going back from the 1930s to the 1940s, probably the end of the war, what types of vehicles were there?
Was that the half roundbacks with the sliding shutters?
No, they had a flat back, but the sort of the top, when you looked at them, used to have half moon. And one half used to slide into the other, and as that filled up, they used to then go to the other side.
Collectively known as side loaders.
Side loaders.
Yeah, that's what they were known as. Shelvoke and Drury used to make them. We've still got a couple in preservation.
Really?
Yeah, there's a couple in preservation. We've actually got a collectors club, a supporters club, and I don't know if you've got a computer.
Yes.
I couldn't work one to save my life, but there is a website there if you want to look it up, and there's pictures of them on the website.
John, it's www.shelvoke-drury.co.uk.
Okay, I've got
I wonder how many hits they get a day.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, as I say, thank you for your efforts as the bin man, because they've always appreciated the work that the refuse collector has done.
Thank you.
And
in those days, you see, all the waste was heavy, ashes, as you can see.
Yeah.
Of course, it'd be very laborious. The bins would be heavy. The men would be sweating.
How many
they'd be
tons a
struggling.
day? How many tons a day would you have shifted in a typical day on the bins?
On my days back in West London, we used to do about 28 tons a day. That was 4 lorry load of a 4-wheeled vehicle.
Thank you very much, John.
Okay.
Nice to talk to you.
7-ton capacity of full load. But of course, the fascinating thing is, in those days, we were little 4-wheelers, the dust carts, like the one you've got now. But then they went to sort of 6-wheelers, and now even 8-wheelers. You see, don't you?
You got that one on the island. What Tip Skips in about rear end loader. She's an 8-wheeler. That's
she's a what? Sorry.
A rear end loader, an REL.
What sort of gross does she gross then?
32 tons.
32-ton gross. Is she a Mercedes or?
That particular one Biff has got is on a DAF.
Oh, Lane and Daff.
DAF.
Do you find that you do trot up there to sort of Forest Road on a weekend and hang around outside?
I've been
like the
around the plant. No, I've been.
What about when you watch an old TV programme or an old movie, and you may not have seen the movie before, but it could be, I don't know, 1960 with Laurence Olivier, and he's on Brighton seafront, and a dust cart goes by. Do you ever see one you've never seen before?
I
you don't
don't
know
watch a lot of television, but in the
We didn't think
past
you
I have spotted refuse vehicles in the films. There was one had an old Brentford and Chiswick one in it many years ago. Many of the restored vehicles have been used in period films. That Buster film.
Oh yeah, with Phil Collins.
That's it. Bradford's restored ones in that. They used that in there. One of the Shelvoke Druries, a guy called Alan Freer. He was transport manager for Bradford City Council. He's retired now. He rebuilt a Pacamatic that was used in the Heartbeat series twice, and it was used in something else.
Pacamatic, Steve?
It was an automatic one that packed the rubbish by the sounds of it.
It was just a single blade going backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. We had them on the island years ago.
I remember them. They used to have teeth on them.
Really?
Didn't they? There were static teeth and one blade going back and forwards.
The one they had in San Shank, a couple of teeth were missing.
What went round like that? That was
like
the
a lot of the
Revo
women in
pack.
Shank.
Hang on, when it went what?
The teeth what went round and round was a Revo pack.
That's
what
we
had.
had.
That was short for revolving Pacamatic.
Right. And what was the other one?
A Pacamatic.
Do the action for that for those watching.
The Pacamatic was a single ram, often called the straw ram, pushed the waste
Compacting
under
it.
static teeth.
I think we had that one. I think it was the second one.
Later in the 70s, you had one which operated round and round like that, which is exactly the same as what
Revomatic.
Revo pack.